I would pass the floor to Vedran from the City of Vodice.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. As a colleague from Cheria Katarina said, we throughout the ADRIADAPT project, Vodice initiated the preparation of the climate adaptation plan, and it tackled several key sectors, which are the urban heat problems, the problems of the flooding in the coastal and urban areas, and the problems related to the droughts and wildfires in the hinterland of the Vodice. So we use the data that Enrico showed us and sent us in order to have a better view, a better insight into the problems that we will expect in the future time. We focused on the temperature-related indexes, the average temperature and the extreme ones, and the duration of the heat waves and tropical nights. Unfortunately, we did not have the statistically downscaled data for Vodice, but we used the ones that are very close to us for Šibenik. And for precipitation, it was the same story. We used the ones that we had, but the ones that are statistically downscaled, they are for Vodice. Nevertheless, these data are very much needed in order to propose optimal or adequate plans. So what we also have as a help throughout the ADRIADAPT project from other partners, or these analysis of vulnerability regarding this particular urban heating, this for the center of Vodice and the hinterland, and as well for the vulnerability in terms of the flooding, the urban areas. And based on these analyses, we attempted to collect all the best practices or the environmentally friendly solutions that could be implemented in Vodice. And we sum up these to 3 categories. First of them being measures that are related to the urban area, which aim at tackling the urban flooding. We divide them into the 3 categories, into planning measures, technical ones, and the technical ones that are meant to be implemented into the private territories. These all are measures that combine the green measures, the gray measures and the green infrastructure measures, aiming to reduce the peak flood flow, to reduce the volume of the surface runoff, and to increase the percolation of the surface water into the ground, and to reduce the problems into the very narrow coastal zone area in terms of flooding related to the synergy of the sea activity and the flooding activity due to the precipitation. As a final result, this is a hydraulic scheme of the newly proposed concept for the urban stormwater drainage. And the next, the future plan after the adaptation of the plan would be to implement these into the urban plans, and afterwards to go through the realization of the segments. In relation to the heat waves in urban areas, similarly as in Cheria, we proposed different types of measures which aimed at covering the sealed the pavements and so on, which are the hotspots in the urban area for the heat waves. We proposed shadowing them through the green canopy measures, through some other green infrastructures measures, which would hopefully mitigate these problems. And one of the main actions that needs to be done is to install the cadastre of the public greenery. And as a last section of the measures, adaptation measures, these are related to the coastal zone, which tackled two things basically. One is a defense from the wave vegetation, which would be increased in the future time due to the sea level rise. And another one is a plan for each of the segment of the Vodice's coastal zone to devise a plan of management and to use these valuable resources in a more sustainable way. I would like to close with this and give the word once again back to you, Margareta. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vedran. Really interesting. These schemes and projects you are, or these concepts you are presenting, how are they going to, do you already know how they are going to enter into municipal plans?
They should be first adopted as a whole, like first afterwards. As you know, in Vodice, just this week there is a new representatives of the local government. So once today or yesterday it was their first day of work. So after a couple of days of I don't know, at some point we will have the presentation what we did, and hopefully from that point on there will be at some point adaptation of the plan, and afterwards the measures will go into the planning documents and into the budget of the
so let's hope the best that you will be able to convince them. What's your impression?
I don't have an impression since it's day one. Marco said that he's optimistic.
Okay, let's hope the best then, that this work will not remain in the drawer, but also adopted by the new municipal government. Thank you, Vedran.
I had a question.
Oh yes, please go ahead.
A question for Vedran. You mentioned the green cadastre. So are you planning only a public one or also a private one? I'm asking this because I noticed that in Dubrovnik, the most problematic area about green canopies are in public areas, well, in private areas, where some investor buys some beautiful park and the house with it, which is historical, and then they just cut it without any kind of, well, repercussions. So are you also planning a private one with the public one?
Yes, actually, the problem in Vodice is that the majority of the area, especially in the urban area, it's not public spaces, it's private spaces. And in order to tackle the issues of the urban heat islands, we definitely need to tap on the private parcels, and therefore there is already a measure that has been obtained by the previous government in Vodice, which act towards the private green spaces, where they are obliged, if they are cutting something, they need to replace the same amount of the green space somewhere within the area of Vodice. And so far this measure has been fully implemented and working properly. So anyhow the response is positive. But to answer your question regarding the catastrophe, yes, we suggested, we recommended that plan should include both public areas and private ones.
Excellent. Well, I hope, I'm also very optimistic with Vodice's new municipality and your projects. Thank you.
We shall see.
Thank you, Romana.